doing a live today. Sometimes I schedule them, like today. Sometimes I just show up, but I thought I would schedule one because then more people show up and then it's more fun in the chat. So if you're watching this in the So Squad live, then you can chat with me. And if you're watching a recording, you can always leave comments. But today, I thought just for fun, I got back from H&H trade show in Chicago last week. I've never been to H&H before. It's huge. I guess prior to H&H, there was a fiber and fabric festival. It was the first year they ran it, so that was more of like a vendor show and also classes. And then afterwards is the dedicated trade show. And the really wild thing about H&H, I was familiar with it because for some reason I'd been for years getting emails from H&H Cologne in Germany. H&H Americas started about 4 years ago. This was my first time going to the show, but it has exploded as far as size goes. So there were over 600 manufacturers and vendors there. It started out as more of like, what do you call it? Like needlework and yarn knitting. It was a show more dedicated to those crafts. And then they started to come to Quilt Market, the people who run the show, and handing out business cards, and more people started to join H&H. So I guess over the last 4 years it has grown, which is pretty cool. So when I went there, I had sort of some goals to meet with some other businesses and make some connections or reconnect with businesses I've worked with before. And so I've got some hopefully exciting things on the horizon. But there were all kinds of really cool tools and new gadgets and beautiful sewing machines and amazing fabrics from all sorts of designers. And today I thought, you know what, why not? I don't think I've ever done this before where I've shared like my favorite quilting tools. So this isn't an ad. I'm not, let me think, am I sponsored? I'm not sponsored by anybody. There are some things that I have received for free from manufacturers, just a couple things. But other than that, these are just products that I love, that I've paid for. And I thought, you know, I'll share mine with you, and then you should let me know, like, what are some tools that you can't live without in your sewing space? Does that sound good? Hi, good morning. Hey, Linda, Julia, Deb, hi. Hey, Corey, all the way in Scotland. Amazing. Okay, I want to start with rulers, because rulers are the kind of thing, I know we have all kinds of tools we can use when we're sewing and quilting, and some of them are just like dollar store random things, but rulers are things that you have to use, and unless you're doing improv, maybe, and quality rulers really make a difference. So I just want to show you, this is my Omni Grip ruler. I've got two of these, this one and then the 24-inch. This is the 12x6. I've had these since I started. Like, these were the first things I think I bought when I took my first quilting class, and that was probably, I always try to estimate, I always say 15 years. Maybe at this point it's been 20, because my son is almost 20, and I sort of started, I think a lot of us who are parents start when we have little kids, like we're so focused on raising kids, but we just want something for ourselves. I feel like quilting is that opportunity to jump into a craft. So I've had these for like 20 years. I have so many rulers too, Robin, like not a lot of specialty ones, but a few that I'll show here. But these ones have lasted forever. The one thing I did was get little, it says it's Omni Grip, but there were no grips on these. And I don't even know if that was a thing yet back when I started buying rulers, but I got these little sticky, they're like little rubber stickers that you can stick on the back, and then it prevents sliding. And I feel like I have to do that with almost every ruler now because I don't trust myself. So yeah, so I've got these little stickies. I can't remember, these might have been, I think Jen Kingwell had some little packages, but I don't know if those are hers or if they're Clover. In any case, you can find them online, and I stick them on all my rulers now to prevent sliding. Omni Grips. The other ones So for years, I've taught courses where we're making a lot of half square triangles. I love making half square triangles. And for years in classes, people would tell me, Libs, have you tried block lock rulers? And I was like, no. And I'm like, I don't want to spend the money on fancy rulers. But finally I gave in, and they really are a game changer. So these block locks, now these are the only ones I have. I bought a set of 3 for half square triangles. It's the 6-inch or 6.5, 4.5, and 2.5-inch. And I know they make other ones, like you can get one that's specially made for trimming flying geese, but these help you trim your half square triangles to perfect size. And if you iron your seam to one side, that's the key, then they've got this little ridge that you lay down on your fabric and you lock it into place against that seam, that center seam, and then you can trim all the way around and you get really pretty half square triangles. So I'm also not one, I used to just sort of like wing it and not trim down my HSTs. But as I've progressed, I realized that trimming and accuracy can make your quilts look better. If you're looking for accuracy and nice points, some of us aren't. Nothing has to be perfect, right? Finished is better than perfect. But those block locks are really cool. Now, they're kind of expensive. I don't remember what I spent on these, but they come in sets and I've used them a lot, so they were worth it, I think. So if you do a lot of half square triangles, it's something to consider. True grip, Jenny, thank you. Yeah, those silicone grips are called True Grip, these ones. I think I have, okay, here's another ruler, and these ones are slightly different. These are the ones that were from Jen Kingwell, but same thing, they're silicone, they just have a little hole in the center. So here's my first specialty ruler. I bought it from Jaybird Quilts, who developed this ruler. It's the Hexamore. And I used it to design one of my quilts called New Wave. New Wave is made up of equilateral triangles and I think some diamonds. In any case, this makes equilateral triangles, diamonds, hexagons. It's a very cool ruler. I've used it a lot, so it was worth it. And it's a fun one. Again, it's by Jaybird Quilts. It also, sometimes you can buy a set where it comes with this little guy or girl or whatever sidekick. And the sidekick also does, it does the diamond. You can see it shows you which pieces you can make with the sidekick. Very cool rulers. And then I just love to also buy just little random rulers. These ones I have in my shop. I think these are by Feral Whip Stitch, Feral Notions, I thought. Cute. And then like just these. This is a Creative Grids ruler, but it's been branded by a shop called the Quilted Raven in Yellowknife. Beautiful Yellowknife way up north. So like just little rulers for when you're trimming smaller pieces. Very handy. I've just always got my rulers all stacked on my work table. And then this is another one somebody told me about, probably in the Sew Squad. And it's the Add a Quarter ruler. I have 2 sizes. I've got this longer one and a shorter one. And they're great because they've got this flange again, right there, or trimming foundation paper piecing. So if you've got a foundation paper piecing project and you're using papers and you're sewing through the papers and folding and trimming, these are game changers. I always appreciate when people say, hey, Libs, I know you're doing it this way, but you could try this tool. And then sometimes I do actually follow up and get the tool. So Add a Quarter rulers, very cool. Have any of you used these? Yeah, Robin, makes FPP so much easier. Yeah, for sure. And again, I love that it just sits against that paper so you can trim a 1/4-inch seam away. Yeah, I think it makes a huge difference. So worth it, worth the investment. There are some other, oh, hang on. I'll show you this ruler. This one might be my biggest one. I'm sure some of you have it. It's the Stripology ruler. This is the mega size Stripology ruler, and you can see you can cut at 1/2 inch increments. So if you're doing strips or squares, you cut the strip and then you move all your fabric, you line it up, and you can cut squares with it. It makes quick work of strips. I tried using it. I was using it to make that new Bone Brigade pattern that I just put out, and it was very helpful because there are a lot of strips and lots of squares in that pattern. Have any of you used this one? Oh, yeah. Oh, Jenny, I haven't used it to make binding, but that makes sense to cut binding strips. Anyway, it comes in a few different sizes. This is the mega one. And Godrun Erla, who makes it, also has, she's got lots of very cool patterns that work with these rulers to make really beautiful patterns, table runners, quilts. I met her in person. I don't know if I met her before, but I met her. Sometimes you see someone, you're like, have we met in person before? But she is also an Andover designer. So she's got a few fabric collections out that are just stunning. And so I got a chance to meet her in person at H&H. And so that's her ruler. That's kind of it for rulers. Although I'll tell you 2 other rulers that I have and that I want. One I have and I can't find it is that Hertie ruler by Latifa Safir. It makes HRTs, not the thing that we have to take when we're this age, but half rectangle triangles. I've got that ruler. I haven't tried it out, and I really want to. I don't make a lot of half rectangle triangles in my quilts. In fact, I don't think I have one pattern that uses them, but I think maybe, no, Smooth Sailing has it, but I've just got, I think, templates for that. So I want to try that one out. I don't know if any of you have used her Hertie ruler. Also, Latifa Safir has these really amazing clammy rulers in various sizes. They're templates. They make these really beautiful clam shapes, and they come in different sizes. I saw Latifa also at H&H. She's so cool, and she had one of her quilts on display that used the big clam shape, and it's really pretty. So I think I want to order some of those and try them out. And I know she does courses and on-demand courses that work with those rulers as well. And I think you could also, because of the large curve on those clammies, you can also use them to just cut quarter curve pieces for like this, like those blocks. Yeah. I'm just reading comments. Yeah, Utah. I'm going to read Utah's comment. During the quilt classes I took as a beginner, they recommended many special rulers that are absolutely necessary. I never needed them afterwards, lost a lot of money back then. I think, unfortunately, that happens to a lot of quilters when we're newer. We go to a show, we're excited, and then we kind of we overspend on things we really don't need. So I feel like if there's one piece of advice I have for newer quilters, it's you don't need all this fancy stuff. I've been doing quilting for close to 20 years, and I still only have a few like specialty rulers. And a lot of these have lasted me for a long time. There are some that I've never really used, but most of them I have used over time, and they've been worth the investment. But yeah, don't sink a ton of money into something you're not absolutely sure you're going to need, because that money can go towards fabric or paying bills in the house, buying food. So yeah, don't feel too much pressure to buy all the fancy new things that come out. Oh, Jenny says the clammy can also do orange peels. Awesome, very cool. Yeah, I like rulers that have multiple purposes too, like that Hexenmoor ruler, because you can cut multiple shapes. And those are shapes that you can cut with a regular ruler, but it gets a little bit, you have to follow the lines on your Omni grid to get the 60 or 45 degree. And it's nice to be able to use a ruler for those funky pieces. Okay, Next up, let's talk cutting. Okay, cutting fabrics. You guys, I have a scissor problem. I'm not going to show you all the scissors I have because there are a lot. But I do have scissors that I only use for paper or for packing. Like everything, anytime you order from my shop, I'm the one who's packing all the orders up. And I have to cut, I might have to cut up paper or cut up cardboard, whatever. And these are my fabric or my paper scissors. They're just hard-working little scissors. But for fabric, I have some favorites for sure. Okay. This is only a small selection of what I've got. These are all by LDH Scissors. They're based here in Toronto, but they ship worldwide as far as I know, and you should be able to get them in your favorite local quilt shop. If not, you order them online directly from LDH. I really love their Midnight Edition shears. These are the 8-inch. I think they also have 10, maybe even also 9, but at the 8-inch is a nice size, super sharp. And I just love how stylish they are. Now these are metal, so they're heavy. Oh, I've even got a second pair, almost identical. Maybe these are older ones. They've got a rubber handle, a little more grippy. Why did I get two? I don't know, because I have a scissor problem. So and these ones too, I had them customized. So I had my name put on them. Handy for when you're going to a retreat and you don't want to lose your things. You can get them customized. But they sent me these two recently. So these ones I did get for free. But I used these the other day. They were really amazing, really sharp, and also really easy to use. These are their ergonomic scissors. So have this really nice grip and super sharp and just really smooth action, like it was sliced. I didn't even have to do this, just slicing through fabric. I find scissors like this, the longer I've been around, the more my hands are aching. I'm definitely having some sort of arthritis situation. So anything that's ergonomic that can help me cut fabric more easily and not strain my hands is worth it. So these are really beautiful. Yeah, you have scissor problems too. Yeah, I know. I love scissors. And they just look nice together too. When you've got like a nice vase or something with all your scissors in them. Very cool. Also, LDH on their website, I'm pretty sure they talk about how to take care of your scissors, how to maintain them so they stay sharp, how to clean them, get rid of all the little, see, mine are quite linty. That's not good. You're supposed to wipe them down and then they last longer. I'll do that right after this live. A scissor bouquet, Robin, yeah. And then here's some other ones I've used a little bit. I was making some bags a couple months ago and I tried out these new pinking shears. But what I love about them is that it's like a scallop edge instead of a pointy edge. So I'll show you this white fabric. Super cute. I can't hold it up in front of me. The cute little scallop. Yeah. So I love the pinking shears. I think the more I get into doing clothing, if I ever do, I've got a lot of clothing patterns. I collect a lot of pattern PDFs for shirts and shorts and pants, and I haven't made a lot of garments, but pinking shears will be my best friend when I do that. Yuta, does it count if you only have one pair of scissors and you've used them for many years and that's your scissor problem? Sure. I also have a dedicated pair of scissors that I use. So when I cut fat quarter bundles for people, I cut them off of bolts and then I have to slice down the center to make fat quarters. These are the scissors that I've been using for many years because I don't know, there's something about them. I just open them up and I can slide them and they just slice through. I don't even know who makes these, Heritage. I got them as a Christmas gift one year. So those are my fat quarter bundle slicing scissors. Speaking of fat quarter bundles and cutting fabrics. Oh, and Kai scissors. Yeah, that's another great brand too. I think these little, my paper scissors, those are Kai. Speaking of cutting fabric, let's get into rotary cutters. This LDH one is my favorite. They also have a larger 60 millimeter. I've got that one as well, but this is the 45 millimeter. What I love about this one is that it's ambidextrous. I'm not ambidextrous, but if you're a left-handed person, you can use this as well. It's their midnight edition. It's really light, which is great for cutting, again, for my wrists. Nice and light, not heavy, easy to change the blades. I don't change the blades enough. I should change this one. I think I made 2 quilts with it, and I've cut up some other bundles and things, and it's time to change the blade. When you do change the blades, I don't know if I've got them here. Oh yeah. They send you these little packages. And then I always like have a second package. I throw the old ones into the package, save the old ones up so that I can then take them and throw them in the garbage. But I try to use my rotary blades for as long as possible. And listen, I think I let it go too long. I think sometimes I should be changing the blades sooner than I do. Because why am I fighting with fabric when you could just put a new blade in and just slice like that? I don't know. So I feel like, I don't know if somebody puts the date on theirs. Is it Johanna Masco? Somebody does something where they mark their blade to show how long it's been in there. Yeah. Okay, Kathy, you add a date with masking tape. Smart. That's smart. And then this is what I use for cutting all your fat quarter and half yard bundles. This is an electric rotary. It is a power tool. It's not the kind of thing that you would want to use to cut out pieces of fabric. This is to cut layers and layers. So I'll layer like 6 to 8, if I'm lucky, bolts of fabric, which is like 16 layers of fabric. And then I slice through with this. I saw a really beautiful looking one at H&H, but mine was $20. There you go, $20 at a yard sale. My neighbor got it for me years ago, and I was like, what am I ever going to use this for? But thank you, that's cool. And then eventually when I started selling fabric, I realized, oh wait, this is what that's for. And it's got like you push this down to sharpen the blade, so you never have to replace it. This is called the Chickadee 2. But I know there are newer ones out there that have like lasers, and they're very fancy. But I kind of love the old school, like this was bought from some person who manufactured clothing. They're going out of business. So I like that it was passed on to me and I'm still using it. So always worth checking out a yard sale or a clearance sale. How does the cutting board handle it? The cool thing is I don't even have to use a cutting board. So I actually remove my cutting board. I use my table, and I have markings on my table for 18-inch half yard because the blade doesn't go all the way through. See how this sits flat? So the blade goes to here, so you're sliding it all the way along the fabric, and the blade doesn't come down here. Yeah, the metal plate. So very cool. You don't even need a cutting mat. But you do need a calm hand. Don't drink a bunch of coffee and then try and cut fat quarter bundles. Also for my fat quarter bundles, I will mark. So I'll use my ruler to mark where I need to cut. And that leads me into my marking tools. Okay. So I know some of those electric rotaries have lasers on them, which is very cool. Mine does not, so I use my big Omni grip, and I use this I've had these for years. You can get replacements. This is loose chalk. This is a little clover chalk marker. I have them in silver. It's called silver, it's gray. And also white when I'm cutting darker fabrics. And I love it's got loose chalk, and then chalk comes out on this little, you can see this little wheel. So it's just a little wheel, rolls along, makes a mark, and then you should be able to wipe that off. So white and gray. At one point I had a yellow one. They have yellow, pink, blue. Don't get those if you're worried about leaving marks. That did not come out of my fabric. I used, I think, the yellow one and marked white fabric, and it didn't come out. So these are the ones that I trust, these two colors. But they're great. The little chalk, they last for years, but you can get refills of these. So this just twists off. You replace it with another little loose chalk, and they're super handy. So I use these for most of my marking when I'm cutting up fabric for a pattern or my fat quarter bundles. These are great. This is a new one that I used when I made the Bone Brigade skull quilt. I don't remember where I saw this. Someone was using it online and I was like, I will get it. It's the Sew Line Styla. So this is a water erasable marker. Has a very nice, very fine tip. I'll see if I can show you. It might not even show up, but see, nice and fine. And then when you spray it with water, it disappears. I know Clover has one as well. I've got that, but it's an older one, and I find that it doesn't mark as smoothly as this. So these are pretty cool. It's from Japan, which is also amazing. And it's the Sew Line Styla. Of course, they buy two. I buy two of everything. Like when I grocery shop, I don't know what it is about twos, but I'll like, if I need to buy a can of tuna, I buy two. So I get two because if, also I will lose this. This will go into one of my sewing bags and then I'll be like, where is it? So this will be hopefully sitting somewhere on my work table. Yeah. Jenny, what are you saying about the yellow, blue, and pink ones? Are yellow, blue, and pink clover markers are for garment making, where the marking gets hidden in the seam. Oh, you learned that the hard way too. Yeah, not a good thing to learn. Also, I used to use friction pens for marking in order to do quilting, because friction, you use an iron and it disappears. I did find that sometimes, and maybe they've changed because they've been out for years, but the friction pen, that's Frixion, would pull the color out of some of the prints that I was using. So you'd use a friction pen and then iron it, and then it would leave like this line. So I don't know if it still does that, but I switched. Now, if I'm doing my own quilting, which I don't often, I leave that to professionals. But if I am doing my own quilting, I have a Hera marker. I would show you what it looks like, but it's somewhere. And a Hera marker is just like a tool that you use pressure and it leaves like a line just in your fabric. So it leaves like almost a little, what would you call it? Like a divot, like a little temporary line that you can follow that's sharp enough that you can follow it while you're quilting, and then it goes away. Leona's brand, cheap and works well, and comes in a pack of 10. Oh, Leonis, Leonis. Okay, I'll look that up. Anyway, those are the tools that I really use the most for marking. Sometimes also just a regular pencil. Oh, friction pen's not good in the summer in Arizona. Oh yeah, I guess they would probably just disappear from the heat. Okay, next up, trimming and mistakes. Trimming, I've got a couple thread trimmers that always sit at my machine. I have like 3 of these. These are also LDH. These ones are the rainbow ones. I've also got the midnight ones. But I love this because you put this through this finger, and then you can hold it like this, snip, 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 snip. So when I'm doing like chain piecing and I just want to trim those threads in between the pieces, these are nice and sharp, and I've got control with this. Love them. I think they're also probably pretty good for people who do like things like cross stitch or knitting when you need to trim things. These are really beautiful. Yeah, they're nice and light as well. These ones have more heft than these ones. So Roy at LDH gave me these ones at the H&H trade show because he was offering to do to engrave them. So these ones are really pretty too. These ones are really nice and light, super sharp. He engraved my name on there, which is really neat. These ones come with different colored handles. I think this is a cheaper price point than these ones because these ones are definitely more hefty. Yeah, thread trimmers. I think that's what they're called. This doesn't even have a thread snips. Sorry, thread snips. Both of these are thread snips, just two different styles. I had a pair of these, I still have them somewhere, that were like hand forged in Japan. And I was leaving on a trip going to New York City, went through the TSA, and they confiscated them. But I filled out a form, so they had to store them for me till I got back because I was like, they were so pretty. They confiscated them even though they're within the right size, but they were too sharp, is what the man said. And I was like, they're supposed to be sharp. They're under 4 inches. And he was like, sorry. So just be careful when it comes to, like, double check when you're doing, when you're going through the TSA. Now I have like teeny tiny scissors that I take. I don't even bother taking snips like this on the plane because through the TSA, because I know that there's a chance that they're going to get confiscated. Not fun. Utah, you buy cheap ones on AliExpress. Nice, they come in a little box. That would be handy too. I know that these thread snips have a little rubber top that you slide onto them. You close it and you slide it on. Where is it? I don't know. I think they're sitting on my table, but I always have them open because they're just sitting on my table. When I travel, I put them in. Okay, mistakes. We all make them. I make them enough. And I have an entire tray just for stitch rippers. I don't know. These ones are the teeny tiny travel ones. There's a lid that goes on here, and it also has a little rubber tip on it so that you can stitch rip and then use the rubber tip to pull the thread out. Don't know where the tip went. It's somewhere, but these are great for travel. Tiny fold-up scissors for travel, also excellent. I think I did this during the pandemic. You know how some of us, we might have gone crazy and bought more things than we really needed to. I bought stitch rippers. So I got this one. This one's really pretty, from American Modern Vintage. Is that the name of the company? Excuse me. They make really beautiful wooden products. So they've got clappers and all these beautiful things made out of various exotic woods. So I bought this one. This one I had made by a woodworker in the UK. He was making stitch rippers, and he did this really beautiful stripy thing. It's got an awl on one end and stitch ripper on the other. I prefer these ones where you can put the pieces back in. Like this one is just open. Not great if you're reaching into your sewing bag, but all these other ones have this capability. This one's like resin, and you can store them safely. This one I think is a company somewhere in Ontario, so Canadian. And this one, I don't even remember where I got this one from. I feel terrible, but again, another pretty wooden one. Do I actually stitch rip that often? Listen, usually I live with my mistakes, but there are times when I do need to to really adjust. Like I can't fake it in the seams or it's just not fitting correctly. And I will reach for one of these. So luckily I've got no shortage of stitch rippers. I've also seen people use like a little, looks almost like a little razor, like electric razor. I don't want to deal with that. That's one of those fancy tools that I'm like, I don't need that. I just need a regular old stitch ripper. And then lastly, almost lastly, my favorite things that I use for holding stuff together. So number one, English paper piecing. I know there are these pretty Sewline glue pens, and you can get, this one I think is almost done. You can get little refills for it. It's nice and narrow. And it's, oh, there's lots of glue in there. You can use these for your English paper piecing when you're folding your fabric and gluing it temporarily to your pieces. But I've got probably 2 boxes of the Elmer's school glue sticks. They're cheap, they're cheerful, they work. A little more hard to like be accurate because they're big, but I just use the edge. It's not that hard. So Elmer's glue, that's what I use for the most part for English paper piecing. Yeah, Jenny, you wish you could get the refills in packs of 30 for these? Yeah, I wonder if they'll do like mega packs. I don't do enough EPP. I've got some refills for this, and I think they're like 5 years old. They're probably all dried up. So if I did more EPP, I would invest in this, but I don't, so I use the cheap and cheerful. When I am holding my English paper piecings together, and these are also great for bags, making bags and things. I can't get them apart. They're my Cited magnets. Cited come in different sizes and shapes, and then also different grip strengths. This one appears to be very strong. So I'll use this for my English paper piecing when I'm holding 2 pieces together. That way I'm not pinching it with my hands and causing hand strain. I'll just use these on 2 sides of English paper pieces. There's this nice big one. This is the bigger one that I'll use when I'm doing bigger pieces. And then also, they're all sticking together. The nice thing is you don't lose them in your bag because they all clump together. This is a nice one. These are actually ones that I designed for Sew Tights, and they're light, so Sew Tight Light, L-I-T-E. And so it doesn't grip as hard, so it's easier on your hands to slide the pieces apart. This one doesn't have super strong grip. If you're making something like a bag and you've got thick layers, you'll want to use one of the stronger Sew Tights to hold those layers together. But if you're just doing like English paper piecing or something, these little ones are nice. And Sew Tights has a really great little pack that has a few of each. So you can buy one of those and then play around with which ones you like the most or which ones you use the most before you buy, and you invest in like 8 of these. You can get the little sampler. Yeah, really smart. I love Sew Tights. I really do use them for a lot of things. The other thing I use are my clover clips. So holding, and for the most part, like I don't make bags. If I was a bag maker, I would use these and the Sew Tights. But I do use these for like English paper piecing or holding. When I've cut a bunch of fabrics for a pattern, say I'm like, these need to go together. I might use a little piece of paper, label it, and then I stick these together. So I love clover clips. They're handy. And they're just sort of all over my studio. And then of course, pins. Yeah, you'll turn me into a bag maker one day. Listen, it's not like I don't want to. I would love to. I'm a little nervous about it. So maybe in the Sew Squad, we need to pick a bag and make it together. And you guys can cheer me on because it's not something I've really done a lot of. I made a cute little drawstring bag last year. It was very cute, but I've never really made one with zippers. So that's something I would like to get into. So maybe you folks decide what would be a good bag for us to make in the Sew Squad. Okay, pick something and let me know. I'll post in the squad and I'll ask for favorites, and then we'll pick one and we'll make it. Noodlehead makes great bags. Yeah, and also, is it Bag by Annie? Annie is a genius and she's so wonderful. Maybe one of her bags? I don't know. But also, yeah, Noodlehead bags are really pretty. I do pin a lot when I'm sewing, when I'm piecing my quilts. I'm a big pinner. It helps with my accuracy. It keeps things from shifting around. I don't use fancy pins. I know there are really cool ones called magic pins. I've got some of those. They've got silicone tips on them so you could iron right over them. But I don't know. I didn't get used to them. Using my good old clover yellow top pins. When I have a pin though, that's not going through the fabric anymore, or I've gooped it up with glue or something because I've used, fusible, that's like sticky fusible, they go into the garbage eventually. So I've got quite a few and I keep them in little 19th century teacups because my dad was an antique dealer. So this is what I keep pins in, various little cups that he'd given me over the years. That's where I keep my pins. They sit on by my machine, and I've got like hundreds of these. Yeah, let's talk for a minute, read comments for a minute about bag making, because I know people love doing bags. By Annie and Sally Tomato ones are fun. Yes, Sally Tomato also has like really cool, what do you call it, hardware. And I saw that Tula has some new hardware with Sally Tomato that looks so fun. It's all like neon. Tula is always making amazing things. Also, I know there's like, so I want to get into doing webbing and some ribbon with Renaissance ribbons. I'm going to pitch to them and see if I can do some because they had some really cool webbing in their booth. And they had one that looked like rickrack. It was this cool wave. One side would be bright, one side would be like an opposite color. And it was just so fun. So I do want to make a bag. Annie's patterns are a bit advanced. Anila Hui is a great idea. Okay, I know Anila Hui, but I haven't seen their patterns. I think by Annie would be great, like to go and take a workshop with her. Sotak Handmade, nice. Clum House, so many bag people, companies. Country Cow Design from England. Cool. Oh, and with videos. Videos are helpful for me. I know that I'm a visual learner, especially with something like a bag. I have to see what's being turned, which way things go. Something like, yeah, bags especially. Yeah, I've heard Annie is an amazing teacher too, so I would love to take a class with her someday. All right, last thing, very last thing is my Flatter by Soak Wash. I love Flatter because it just sort of eases your seams. It's non-starch, so it doesn't have a starch in it, but it's a seam relaxer. I find just a little spritz of this when I'm ironing seams can really help flatten things out. And it comes in really amazing scents. Yuzu is my favorite. They also have unscented. So I've used these for years. And then also they have matching Soak Wash, which is like a gentle detergent. So it's great for washing your knits, washing your, what do you call them? Underpants. What's the nice word for like fancy underpants, like lingerie and things? They have little packets, sachets that I take them when I travel because you don't have to rinse. It's not like heavy soap. You don't even have to rinse. You just soak, rinse, or like rinse underwater, and then you don't have to do a whole thing. And it freshens everything up. So Soak Wash is really pretty too. I mean, really handy, and it smells pretty. So, and because Gus, my bulldog, he's a bulldog. He's got sensitive skin. So whenever I wash his blankets, I only use Soak Wash because it's gentle and it won't give him bad reactions. So that's why I use Soak Wash. Also, it's okay for the environment. So I take it up to the cottage when I have to do my laundry in the lake, and I know it's not putting harmful chemicals into the beautiful lake that I love so much. So that's it. Like I'm sure there are more favorites around here, but I've never done this before. So I'm like, I'm sure I'll come up with round two at some point, or I'll have some new things to show. But I would love to hear from all of you. Delicates. Thank you. I don't really wear a lot of delicates. Uh, you know, I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe it's something I should do once in a while. Get some fancy underpants. But now you know too much about me. That's TMI. TMI. But I'd love to hear from all of you what your favorite tools are, or what's like one thing you can't live without in your sewing room. So let me know in the comments. I'll post the recording in a few minutes. And yeah, and I'd love to hear what your favorites are as well, or what you think of my favorites. Or maybe I'm missing something. You're like, Libs, what about whatever it is? Let me know, okay? All right, folks. That was great. That was fun. I love doing this. And we'll chat soon in the squad. We've got a big sew day. If you're in the sew squad, big sew day. Saturday, May 16th, 3-hour sewing session. Pop in and say hello. Bring a project if you feel like it. Come and socialize or just lurk. It's up to you. But that's our next big sew day. Okay? All right, everyone. Have a wonderful Wednesday and we'll chat soon. All right. Bye.